It's been a tough year so far agriculturally for things that grow. It started with tree fruits suffering dramatic losses after an early spring pushed apples and cherries to bloom, followed by hard freezes. Since then, it's been record high temperatures and below average rainfall that's taking a toll on corn and soybeans. Michigan ranks 11th nationally in corn production, growing roughly 2.5 million acres. Much of it is stressed, along with that in 60% of the country. According to the National Climatic Data Center, the U.S. is experiencing the worst drought since the 1950s.
Well, you know, we started out this year with high hopes. We got through in good shape in terms of planting activity. Things dried out. We were able to get the crops planted pretty much across the country. We had record acreage planted in corn, over 92 million acres, with expectations of, if you can believe it, close to 15 billion bushels of corn was early projections. All of that, unfortunately, because of the expanding and prolonged heat and dryness, has really severely cut back that potential. We knew it was going to be cut back, and every day that goes by without getting the adequate rains trims those yields further. So users, ethanol, the typical livestock users, are really going to feel the pinch. Our export customers, because the U.S. is the #1 exporter of corn, our crop here is going to impact world grain supplies. And we could have used every one of those close to 15 billion bushels, and unfortunately the weather didn't cooperate this year.
Critical stages of crop development for corn has been drought stressed, with pollination being impacted by the heat. Temperatures in the 90s can damage pollen grains, and the mercury reaching the century mark can kill pollen altogether. Brett Roberts farms 1,000 acres of cash crops in Eaton County and is hoping for some relief.
As you can see, the corn is suffering from a lack of moisture here in central Michigan. We're about 20 miles southwest of Lansing. I would say that from estimates that we've already lost the first top 30% of our yield. If we do not receive rain tomorrow or the next day is the next prediction, we're going to probably lose another 25 to 30%. We're trying to pollinate right now. We're trying to push out tassels in this corn, and it is needing a lot of water to do that process, and we will end up with poor pollination and poor ear fill without some water. The soybeans are slow, but if they get some rain, they still have potential. They're probably not going to be as tall as we'd like, maybe, but they will blossom for quite a while longer, and with some moisture, they will achieve some decent soybeans. But again, if we go another 2-3 weeks without water, they're even going to be in real trouble.
According to the National Drought Mitigation Center, almost 80% of Michigan was abnormally dry in mid-July, with the southern third of the lower peninsula at moderate drought level. Jeff Andreessen is the state climatologist at Michigan State University. The primary focus of his research has been the influence of weather and climate on agriculture.
And what we can see is that for the last 2 months, so basically from the middle of May through the middle of July, we have a really varying situation for precipitation, ranging from above normal precipitation from certainly the northeastern part of Minnesota, across northern Wisconsin, into the upper peninsula, and even the northern lower peninsula of Michigan. But south of that, we have another area. These precipitation totals are expressed in terms of percent of normal. And so while we have some spots greater than 200% of normal in the far northern part of the region, not very far south of that, we go to areas that have been very, very or unusually dry with less than 25%. And even as you go south of Michigan into portions of Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky, Arkansas, precip totals in some of those areas have been less than 10% of normal over the last 2 months. And again, given that we are in the middle of the summer, our vegetation and crop water demands are at their highest rate of the season. All of these things have added up in a negative sense. The timing is very, very poor.
With the weather extremes affecting tree fruit and corn, one commodity was a golden lining of sorts, that being wheat.
We wrapped up a better than average wheat crop. Actually, the USDA estimated our Michigan crop at 72 bushels, which would be a new record. Our acreage was down from previous years, but overall we're looking at about 39 million bushel crop. Quality was excellent this year. The dry weather really kept the disease issues down. The test weights were up. Harvest came off without a problem in terms of rain events that would cause any sprout or falling number issues. So overall, the wheat crop came off very well. It'll be interesting to see what we have for this fall in terms of acreage, given the prices of corn and soybeans competition. But having wheat and having a good crop come off in a year like this does help farmers look at wheat as a risk management crop, something that's planted at a different season. We have a challenge with summer rains. At least we've got a decent wheat crop to help provide some cash flow during the summer.
You can track all aspects of the drought of 2012 at the state and national level at droughtmonitor.unl.edu.